Let's practice converting between improper fractions and mixed numbers together. So throughout each of these practice problems, if we see an improper fraction, we're going to go ahead and try to convert it into a mixed number, so rewrite it. And if we see a mixed number, we're going to go ahead and practice rewriting that into an improper fraction. Alright, so for number 1, we have the fraction of 48 over 5, and that is an improper fraction. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite this one as a mixed number, and I'm going to go ahead and write out the division for each of these in case that's helpful. Now 5 doesn't fit into 4, but it fits into 48 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45, and the remainder here, if you subtract 48 minus 45, is going to be 3. Alright, so if you're looking at this division, this 9 or the whole number on top, that's the quotient to the division problem, that's going to be the whole number. And then you see the remainder down here of 3, that's always going to be our new numerator, okay, and that's going to be over. And finally, we're going to have this all on top of this 5. That's what we were on top of before, so that's got to stay the same. So this would be the mixed number version of 48/5. Alright, let's go ahead and try number 2. For number 2, we have the improper fraction version of this, and this is going to be 57/4. So if we go ahead and show the division here, we have to see how many times 4 fits into 57. So 4 times 1 is going to be 4. That's going to go into 5 one time, right? So 5 minus 4 is 1. We can bring down the 7 here. That's 17. And now 4 into 17. Well, 4 times 4 is 16. That's as close as we can get, and we are off by 1. Okay, so keep in mind, what do each of these numbers mean? Well, the 14, that's the quotient or the answer to the division problem. That's the whole number, that's 14. The remainder here we got was 1, so that's going to be the new numerator. And then what do we divide by, right? We divided by 4, so that's going to be the same denominator. So 4 and 1/4 is the same thing as 57/4. For number 3, we're actually going to be going the other way here. So keep in mind, like, what is going on with this? Now, if you take a look at this number of 4, now 4 is the same thing as 8 halves. So I'm going to go ahead and write 8 halves. And then the 1/2 is the same thing as 1/2, so that just stays the same. So if we have 8 halves plus 1/2, that's just going to equal 9 halves. Okay, so keep in mind that if you're not sure what we just did there, that 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. But 4 over 1 is the same thing as 8 over 2. So I just went ahead and rewrote this 4 as 8 over 2. So hopefully that makes sense. And as a shortcut, if you would like to take this 4 and a half, you may also go ahead and just multiply 4 times 2. Well, it's going to be 8 plus the 1 on top, that's going to be 9. And you can also do it using that way and get 9 over 2. Okay. Moving on to number 4. For number 4, we have 5 and 2/3. Now, 5 is the same thing as 15 over 3, right? So we can write that as 15 over 3 plus 2 over 3. Okay, so 15/3 plus 2/3, that's going to equal a total of 17/3. Now to show you again how I got this 15 over 3, if you look at the number 5, right? 5 is the same thing as 5 over 1. And 5 over 1 is the same thing as 15 over 3 if you multiply the top and bottom by 3. Okay. Now, what if we didn't want to use this method? What if we wanted to use a shortcut? Well, if you take this original 5 and 2/3, right, and we want to go ahead and use a shortcut, well, 5 times 3, that's going to be 15. 15 plus the 2, that is going to be 17. So you're going to get 17/3 either way. All right, so let me just go ahead and box a few of these. So this is going to be the improper fraction version for number 4. For number 3, this is also the improper fraction version. For number 2, what do we find out? This was a mixed number, right? So if we had it improper to start, we turn into a mixed number. And for number 1, we also had turned the improper fraction into a mixed number. Okay, so that's 1 through 4. Let's go ahead and check out number 5. Number 5 looks like we have an improper fraction, so we have 67/8. So that's asking how many times does 8 fit into 67. I know 8 times 8 is 64, so that's as close as we can get. We subtract, we have a remainder of 3. Now what does this 8 on top represent? This 8 on top represents the whole number, so it goes in 8 whole times. The remainder of 3 down here at the bottom, that's going to be the new numerator. Okay, as always. And then this 8 on the side here, this was our divisor or the denominator, and that's going to stay on bottom. So this right here is going to be the mixed number version of this improper fraction. Okay. For number 6, we have 54 over 7. So very similar one to the last one. So do we know our 7 times tables? Well, I know 7 times 7 is 49. think that's as close as you can get to 54. So we're going to subtract 54 minus 49, that's going to be 5. Right? Now what was the quotient? The quotient was 7. It went in 7 whole times. The remainder here was going to be 5, so that's going to be the new numerator. And then on bottom, looks like we have the number 7. That's going to be the divisor. That's going to be the same denominator that we started with. So we have here that this 7 and 5/7 would be the mixed number version of 54/7. For number 7, we have 7 and 7/8. Okay, so how do we rewrite the number 7 in terms of eighths? Well, 7 times 8, that's going to be 56. So 7 is the same thing as 56 over 8, and that makes sense because 56 divided by 8 is 7. So we have 56/8 plus 7 more eighths. That should be a total of how many? That should be 63/8. All right, so this would be the final improper fraction version. Now, just to show you again that 7 and this 56/8 are the same thing, well, 7 is the same thing as 7 over 1, right? And if you multiply top and bottom by 8, 7 times 8 is 56, and then on bottom, 1 times 8 is going to be 8. Okay. Now, if you just want to use a shortcut to check everything here, we can take the 7 and 7/8. We multiply the 7 times the 8 on bottom, so 7 times 8, that's going to be 56. 56 plus 7 on top is going to be 63. So we're going to get a total of 63/8, which is what we got using the other method as well. For number 8, we have 9 3/4. So let's go ahead and say, well, 9 times 4 is 36. So it's really saying 9 is the same thing as 36/4 plus the 3/4 that we have, or 3/4 we had to begin with. Now 36 plus 3 is going to be 39. So 39 over 4 would be the improper fraction version for the mixed number 9 3/4. Right? Now, this 9 and this 36 over 4 are equivalent. Let me show you. 9 is the same thing as 9 over 1. And then if you multiply top and bottom by 4, 9 times 4 is 36. 4 times 1 is 4. So that's where the 36/4 comes from. And if you take a look at the 9 3/4 and you want to go ahead and use that shortcut, we'll multiply that 9 and 4 together. 9 times 4 is 36. 36 plus the 3 on top, that's going to be 39. So you also get 39/4 using the shortcut. All right, for number 9, let's take a look at this improper fraction of 90 over 6. Now you might notice something right away about it, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to go ahead and say this is 90 divided by 6. And let's see, 6 goes into 9 one time, 1 times 6 is 6. 9 minus that 6 will be 3. Bring down this 0, and that's 30, so 6 times 5 will be exactly 30. So the remainder here is going to be 0. All right, so if this happens here, then notice how this is just going to be 15. That's going to be the whole number. Now the remainder here, it's actually kind of interesting, is 0, right? So it would be 15 and 0, and what were we dividing by? It was 6. So we can go ahead and put that 6 down here. Now you're not going to leave your answer like this. 15 and 0, 6, that's really just 15, right? So you can leave your final answer. If it happens to go in evenly, then it's a whole number. So that would be our final answer here. For number 10, we have 75/4. Let's go ahead and see what this would look like if we turn into a mixed number. So if we go ahead and see 4 into 7, it can't fit in twice, just one time. 1 times 4 is 4. 7 minus 4 should be 3. Bring down this 5, that's 35. Now 4 times 8 is going to be 32, right? That's as close as we can get. 4 times 9 would be 36, that's too much. 35 minus 32 is 3. So it went in how many times? Well, 4 times 18 will get you as close as you can get to 75, so it goes in 18 whole times. And then a remainder down here of 3, that's going to be the new numerator. And then for the denominator, we have a 4, so we're going to put that down here. All right, so our mixed number here is 18 3/4. All right, so that's number 10. Where do we have number 11? All right, for number 11, we have a mixed number here, so it's going to be 8 4/5. So let's go ahead and see what we can rewrite this as. So 8 times 5 is 40, so 8 is the same thing as 40 over 5 plus 4 over 5. Right, so 40 plus 4 is going to be 44. So the improper fraction version is going to be 44 over 5. All right, now just to confirm here that 8 is the same thing as 40 over 5, well 8 is the same thing as 8 over 1, right? And if you do times 5, top and bottom, 8 times 5 is 40, 1 times 5 is 5, so that's where that comes from. And if you wanted to use the shortcut, we have 8 and 4/5 from the beginning. Now 8 times 5 is 40, 40 plus the 4 on top is going to be 44, so we have a total of 44/5. So that does check out, okay? For number 12, we have 7 and 2/9. Now, let's see, 7 times 9 is 63, so 7 must be the same thing as 63/9. We're going to add on 2 more 9ths here. So 63/9 plus 2 more 9ths should be a total of 65/9. All right, so this right here would be the improper fraction version. And just to confirm that 7 is the same thing as 63 over 9, well 7 is the same thing as 7 wholes, or 7 over 1. And then if we multiply the top and bottom by 9 and 9, then 7 times 9 is 63, 1 times 9 is going to be 9, so we have 63 over 9. And then let's go ahead and use the shortcut to confirm this works as well, because you're welcome to use that. So 7 times 9 is 63, 63 plus the 2 on top is going to be 65, so we have a total of 65/9. So that hopefully checks out. For number 13, let's see, we have an improper fraction here, so we have 58/9, so that's really the same thing as 58 divided by 9. Now 9 doesn't fit into 5, but 9 fits into 58 6 times, right? 6 times 9 is 54. And if you subtract here, 58 minus 54 will just be 4. So we had a whole number of 6 here. We're going to put that on top. And then we have a remainder of 4 on bottom. So that's going to be the new numerator that goes on top. And then finally, we have the divisor of 9, which was our denominator earlier. And that's going to stay as the same denominator. So 6 and 4/9 is going to be the mixed number version of 58/9. All right, for number 14, we have 83/12, which is really just saying how many times does 12 fit into 83. So we have this 12 going into 83. Now you might need to do some multiplication on the side here to figure out your 12 times tables. Now 12 times, let's just say 5, that's going to be equal to 60, right? So that's too little maybe. We think we can go closer. If we do 12 times 6 or 12 times 7, I don't know, I'll go with 12 times 6 here. 12 times 6 is going to be, that's 12, carry the 1. That's going to be 72. And what if we do one more? Let's do 12 times 7, just to be sure. 12 times 7, that's going to be 2 times 7 is 14, carry the 1. 1 times 7 is 7 plus 1 is 84, so that's 1 too many. So we're going to go with a 6 here. 6 times 12 will be 72. And we were off by 1 earlier, so we should have a remainder of 11. All right, so our whole number is going to be 6. And our remainder here was 11. So it's going to be 11 is the new numerator. And let's see, on the bottom here we have 12. And so that's going to be the denominator. So we have 6 and 11/12. All right, last couple problems here. We have a mixed number for number 15. So for number 15, let's take this whole number 4. 4 times 8 is 32. So 4 must be the same thing as 32 over 8 plus another 7 over 8. So 32 over 8 plus 7 over 8 makes 39 over 8. All right, so just like that, we should have our improper fraction version, okay? Remember, this 4 and this 32/8 are the same thing, so 4 is the same thing as 4 over 1. And if you multiply top and bottom by 8, on top 4 times 8 is 32, and on bottom 1 times 8 is 8. So that's where the 32/8 comes from. And if you didn't want to write all that out and you want to use the shortcut, feel free to do so. We have 4 and 7/8. Now you do 4 times 8, which is 32. 32 plus the 7 on top, that's going to be 39. So we have 39 over 8. All right, that checks out. And finally, for number 16, we have another set of mixed numbers here. So we have 14 and 4/7. Now, if we want to rewrite the 14 in terms of sevenths, you might need to know what 14 times 7 is. So if you want to do that on the side, feel free to do so. 4 times 7 is 28. Put the 8, carry the 2. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 2 is going to be 9. So we have 98. So what is 14 the same thing as? 14 is the same thing as 98/7. because 98 divided by 7 is 14, plus here another 4 sevenths. So we have 98 sevenths plus 4 more sevenths. That should be 102 sevenths. This is the improper fraction version. All right, now if you just want to confirm a couple quick things, 14 is the same thing as 98 over 7. Well, 14, remember, is 14 over 1. If you do times 7 on top and times 7 on bottom, you should get 98 on top and 7 on bottom, so that confirms where that came from. And then if you take this 14 and 4 sevenths, and you want to rewrite this using the shortcut, you would have to do 14 times 7, which we already confirmed is 98. 98 plus the 4 on top is going to be 102. So we do get 102 sevenths. All right, so there you have 16 different practice problems on converting some mixed numbers into improper fractions and some improper fractions into mixed numbers. If you found this video helpful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And as always, keep up the great work. I'll see you in the next one.